Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today's lesson is on the Emperor Tarot card. And today we will go over its everyday interpretation in a tarot reading, and we'll also go over its deeper Kabbalistic and esoteric significance. And in addition to this, I will show you how you can use this card as a tool for self-transformation, self-change, so that the tarot is useful for much more than simple divination. There is an esoteric and occult philosophy within it, and these are also powerful symbols that could be used for practical occultism. So today I'm going to go into the astrological symbolism. We'll look at this from many different perspectives. So today we're going to look at the Emperor. The Emperor. And this is the Emperor from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And this is one of the more popular decks that are around. And many students of tarot begin with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck because of its deeper Kabbalistic and occult symbolism. It's good not so much for aesthetics and appearance as much for the deeper Kabbalistic interpretations. Of course, many people say that Arthur Edward Waite put in certain blinds. Whatever the case may be, as you can see, it is the image of a king, a ruler. As the name says, the Emperor. This is the archetypal image of an emperor, an authority figure. So that's the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And then this is the Emperor from the Tarot of Marseille. Okay, more popular in French occultism. And this is the Oswald Worth deck. Okay, and something that's interesting, I've also got printouts here. The similarity between the earlier Tarot of Marseille and then the BOTA deck. This is the Tarot of Marseille, which I just showed you. As you can see, he sits upon a cube with an eagle upon it, wears armor, and his legs, he crosses his legs. He makes the alchemical sign of sulfur, which is a triangle with a cross underneath it. Things like that. And then here's the BOTA, very similar to the Tarot of Marseille. And I'm not presenting this from any one perspective, but we're looking at this from several different angles. So, if you get the Emperor in a reading, what does this mean? As I always say, the particular interpretation of the card will depend on the context of the reading, what the reading is about. For example, if you're doing a reading about your love relationships, it'll have a slightly different meaning than if you're looking at your job or your finances. So it depends on the context of the reading and the cards that are around it. The cards that are right around it also alter its meaning a little bit. Now, many people that study the tarot, it's difficult because people feel like they have to memorize all these keywords and all of that. Tarot is actually very simple. It is a set of symbolic images. So if you really want to understand the tarot and what the card means, you have to look at the image itself. This is a king on a throne. This is an emperor. He is the king He is the emperor. He represents authority, power. So I'll ask you, what does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? Basically, you take this concept of an authority figure or a ruler or a king, and you apply this in different contexts. For example, this could represent, and it can both be internal and external. This could represent a boss. Any kind of an authority figure could be symbolized by the emperor. He could also represent situations such as rules and regulations. So the emperor can represent your boss. It could represent any kind of an authority figure. The emperor as a person represents a bossy, assertive, dominant leader. This is someone in a position of power. This is a king. So this could represent a dominant person, or as a situation. This could represent all forms of government, authority, rules, regulation, any kind of a decision-making body. And internally, this has to do with these qualities within yourself. So this is your own drive to succeed, your own inner power. This is that part of yourself that represents your ambition, your drive, your inner assertiveness, dominance, leadership, and power. So this could be represented within, without. It could represent a person. It could represent aspects of yourself. So, for example, if you're doing a reading about work, this could represent these qualities within you. This could represent you having the drive and the ambition and the authority to achieve great success at work. So notice that he has the armor and everything. He is a military commander. This could have to do with that part of yourself. This is you taking charge in your workplace. This is you taking charge. This is you being a leader. Or this could represent someone that is a leader. In a relationship, this would usually represent someone that's dominant, someone that's controlling, or the leader of the relationship. So, especially if you get this reversed, that could be a negative sign. Maybe one of the partners is controlling the other. So, the particular interpretation of the card will depend on the context of the reading. Is it about work? Is it about love? Is it about social life? And the cards that are around it. So that's a basic rundown of the Emperor. It is basically the image of rulership, power, okay? And it's really important to understand that we all have these qualities within us. Now, I highly recommend any student of tarot that wants to understand the deeper significance of it to get this book 777 by Aleister Crowley. And this book, of course, was written by Crowley, and he supposedly wrote this from memory. But whatever the case may be, everything that is in this book, he probably derived from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So understanding these tables is to understand tarot, basically. Okay? And the symbolism of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is based upon the attributions of the Golden Dawn. And in this book, many different tarot decks are based on the attributes that are here. So let me read you a little bit. So in the tables, okay, this is like a really important book for anyone that wants to understand the Golden Dawn. type of Kabbalistic symbolism of the tarot. A lot of your tarot decks are based around this symbolism. So a lot of the colors, a lot of the symbols that you'll see in certain tarot decks are based on these attributes. So if you look at 15, this tarot card is ascribed to the letter He, which means window. Okay? And then it's assigned to Aries. Now, if you look at this card, the Rider-Waite deck, what do you see? You see a ram. He has rams on his throne. Okay? And at the top of his crown, you see the astrological sign of Aries. Again, there's a ram. There's a ram. In this Rider-Waite Smith deck, he's surrounded by symbols of the astrological sign Aries. So you could see how this is based around these correspondences. So it's ascribed to Aries. Okay. And it connects the Sephirot, it connects Chokmah and Tiferet on the Kabbalistic tree of life. And I'll get more into that later. Right here, it says it's referred to as the constituting intelligence in the Sefer Yetzirah. And the king scale color is scarlet. Okay, queen scale color is red. And then you have brilliant flame and glowing red. So the color red is ascribed to the card. And then, you know, different deities connected with war. Mars, Athena, okay, Horus, okay, the crowned and conquering child, Athena, who is goddess of war and wisdom, Roman Mars and Minerva. The ram, of course, is representative. And then it goes into here different plants, different stones. So that if you wanted to construct a ritual, a magic ritual around the zodiac sign Aries or this basic archetypal energy, you could work with tarot from a magical standpoint, or for astrological magic, you could take these attributes and build a ritual around it to call forth this aspect of your psyche. Geranium and the tiger lily. Ruby is a precious stone connected with it. Okay. Dragon's blood. For drugs, all cerebral excitants. It's the power to consecrate things. Okay, so that's just a basic rundown. This book is very important. You know, some people don't approve of Crowley or whatever. I mean, he was an occult genius, but whatever your opinion of the man, this is a very important book for the information that's in it in order to understand the tarot. So, as I said, the Emperor is ascribed to the astrological sign of Aries. Aries. Now, the basic nature of an Aries is leadership. In fact, Aries kicks off the whole zodiac. Aries is the leader, and Aries is actually the first sign of the zodiac. The first sign. And as I said, Aries is the astrological attribution of the Emperor. You see Aries all around his imagery. You see Mars, because he's wearing battle armor, the sun. Now, Mars is the astrological ruler of Aries, and the sun is exalted in Aries. But anyways, Aries. Aries is the leader of the zodiac. And if you could sum up an Aries in one word, it is leadership. Aries is assertive, independent, dominant. It is the leader, okay? And Aries as a cardinal sign is good for getting things started, the initiator. Now, Aries, the sun, according to Western tropical astrology, the sun enters the sign of Aries when it crosses the equator. This, in the northern hemisphere, is the beginning of spring. This is when day becomes longer than the night. And this represents light overcoming the darkness. Now, the ram, so Aries represents regeneration. The plants bloom, new life. It is the new year. It's the beginning of the zodiac, spring. So Aries represents regeneration, new life. Okay? In this sense, it is birth. It is the symbol of initiation and birth. And initiation is a form of birth because you move from prenatal darkness into the light of human, into the light of our everyday world. So it's from out of the darkness and into the light. So Aries is the beginning of spring. It is from darkness into the light. And in a sense, it creates order out of chaos. Okay? So it's regeneration, birth. And of course, we see this idea of, now a lamb is a young ram. A lamb is a young ram. So we see this in Christian symbolism of the Lamb of God and connected to Easter. Now Easter occurs on the first Sunday after the full moon following, when the sun enters the sign of Aries. And of course you have the symbolism of the sacrificial lamb, and Easter eggs are given as symbols of birth and regeneration. And of course, where does the sign of Aries come from? Okay, and this is important because the Emperor is assigned to Aries, which has to do with, you know, I went into its everyday interpretation. Now I'm getting into the deeper esoteric philosophy behind it. But Aries has very much to do with leadership, power, authority, assertiveness, things like that. Going a little bit more into the esoteric occult philosophy behind it, Aries represents new life. It is the symbol of initiation. And it's interesting that this sort of seems to connect with the lambskin apron of Freemasonry. In Freemasonry, the white lambskin apron is the first thing, it's the first gift that is bestowed upon a candidate from Freemasonry. It is the badge of Freemasonry. The lambskin apron represents innocence because it comes from a newborn lamb. It represents innocence. The color white is the symbol of purity. It represents moral purity and innocence. It is without blemish. Okay? And it is the apron that goes with the brother when he goes to the grave, when he dies. So it is a symbol of moral purity and innocence, being without blemish. And it's also the emblem of sacrifice, because the lamb is associated with sacrifice in many different religions historically. So, and of course as a symbol of initiation, because again, Aries in the northern hemisphere is when the light overcomes the darkness. And initiation is a form of birth. You move from prenatal darkness into the light of human life. It is a symbol of birth and initiation. So that's the lambskin apron. So it represents, I guess you could say symbolically, the solar deity. You know, in the winter time, the nights are longer than the day. This is light overcoming the darkness. So it is the forces of light overcoming the darkness. And so it is the solar principle having conquest, asserting its authority, taking power and control. Now, where does Aries come from? In mythology, Greek mythology, it comes from the golden fleece. Now, the golden fleece itself was a type of sacrificial lamb, or animal rather, sacrificial ram. In the story, King Athamas has 2 children, and their stepmother tried to convince him to sacrifice his kids. And of course, their mother Nephili sends a flying ram with a golden fleece to rescue his children from being sacrificed. And upon arrival in Colchis, they sacrificed the ram. So the ram sort of took the place of them as a sacrificial victim. They were about to be sacrificed. The ram of the golden fleece carries the son Phrixus to Colchis, to safety, and then the ram is sacrificed. And then, so it's a sort of, you could see this idea of self-sacrifice and sacrifice in place of us, sacrifice for us. And of course, the golden fleece was hung in the grove of the god Aries. And then in the myth of Jason and the Argonauts, the golden fleece is a sign of rulership and kingship. So that's just a little bit about that. Oh, and in the story, when the ram was sacrificed, it became the constellation of Aries. So in Greek mythology, that's where you get the constellation of Aries. So that's interesting. So, as you could see, the emperor is assigned to the sign Aries and to the sun. The sun is exalted in Aries in Western astrology. Okay, and its ruler is Mars. So Aries and the emperor includes both solar and martial qualities. And you see both of these in the emperor. Okay, and the emperor is, in a sense, he is self-sacrificing. Okay, he is the authority figure. He represents all of these qualities. Okay, he is the ruler archetype. As you could see, he has armor connected to Mars. And this is all red, by the way, connected to Mars. The symbols of Aries. He holds the scepter, which is a phallic symbol of power. And this orb represents the world which he holds. So this is the archetypal ruler or king. Okay. And it includes all the attributes of an Aries. The martial attributes of combativeness, competitiveness, and drive, and energy, assertiveness, power, and also the solar attributes of individuality, independence, consciousness, things like that. Now, in the Holy Qabalah, the emperor is assigned to the letter He. Now, the letter He has different meanings depending on the context. The letter He is a symbol of the divine feminine in the Tetragrammaton Yud He Vav He. But here, and if you look in Liber 777, He is assigned to Aries. And He, in this sort of Golden Dawn attributions of the tarot, He is ascribed to the emperor. So why the letter He? In Hebrew, the letter He is Ha. It is the definitive. It is like the English word the. Okay? So anyways, the letter He is one of only 2 Hebrew letters where all the parts don't connect. Okay, this line right here doesn't connect right there. And He is ascribed to the number 5. The number 5. And 5 itself is ascribed to the Sephira of Geburah, which is Mars. So again, the letter He connects to Mars because it's the Sephira of Geburah. And again, that's connected to Aries. Now, the nature of 5 is that it, in the occult philosophy of numbers, 5 divides things. It is half of 10, first of all. So, what is 5 times 2? 5 times 2, of course, is 10, and then 1 plus 0 equals 1. So, 5 is, in this occult, like numerology, because you add all these digits up, 5 is half of 2, which is 1. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay? 5 times 3 is 15, which you move over the decimal, it's 1.5. So 5 is half of everything, and of course 0.5. So the nature of this is to divide. And the nature of the emperor, intellectually, he distinguishes among things. It is the principle of reason. And this idea of Aries, or war or conflict, connects with this idea of opposition. Okay? So anyways, on the Kabbalistic tree of life, He and the emperor connects Chokmah to Tiferet. It connects Chokmah to Tiferet. So, on the Kabbalistic tree of life, it is this path right here. It connects the Sephira of Chokmah to Tiferet. Now, Chokmah is a rush of energy. Chokmah is a rush of energy. And so you get this idea of drive, power, force. And Tiferet represents, it's the spiritual heart. And the Sephirot of Chesed and Gevurah are the two hands. They symbolize our actions in the world, which sometimes we act in the world with a loving kindness, and sometimes we have to have severity. So, you get this idea of judgment, and you get this idea of in between mercy and severity. Chesed is expansive, and Gevurah is restrictive. It puts limits on things. And Tiferet is called Rachamim, compassion. So this represents how we deal with the external world. And Tiferet is connected to the sun. So again, you get these solar qualities. Okay? And these Sephirot, these 6 Sephirot right here, are ascribed to the world of Yetzirah and Microprosopis. They represent the Ruach, and they represent the aspects of the personality, which are right above the physical nature of Malkut. So you get the idea of He, or the emperor, connects Chokmah, which is the archetypal father figure, with Tiferet, which is the solar principle. So again, this is very much in line with the idea of Aries and the emperor. So it is your drive. I guess to put it in a more simple way of saying it is, the emperor is our drive to go out there and manifest our reality. Okay? So in a reading, the emperor represents your own inner power, your own inner authority, your own kingship. Okay? And that could represent that quality within you. Maybe if you get that in a reading, it's telling you that you need to be this independent sort of power figure. You need to rely on your own inner resources and to assert yourself. It could also, instead of externally control and power, it could represent the need for internal authority, which would be willpower. It is regulating your own life, self-mastery, self-conquest. Of course, if you get it upright, this is usually more positive. Reversed, it could refer to abuse of power. Maybe it's someone being too controlling and domineering. Or it could represent a lack of authority, a lack of discipline and structure. So basically, this is just the archetype of a ruler figure. Now, how can you work with this for self-change and self-transformation? It's really important to understand in esoteric astrology, working with the deeper philosophy there, and as a tool of transformation, that we all have the entire zodiac within us. We all have these qualities. So these qualities of the emperor, you can meditate on these to bring these qualities out in yourself. We all have the inner emperor. We all have the emperor nature within us. And by meditating upon this card, meditating upon the nature of Aries, this could help to sort of bring this out within yourself. So this is how tarot could be used as a tool of self-transformation. The subconsciousness thinks in symbols. That's why when we get dreams, we have to interpret them, because this is the language of the subconscious. When we dream, it's our subconscious speaking to us. And with the use of symbol and images, we could speak back to it. Now, these symbols should be thought of as a type of mask. Okay, it is a type of mask. This is a quality of our personality. By meditating upon these qualities and attributes, we're able to sort of step into that mask and bring that out in our nature. The use of God forms in Western ceremonial magic is when you would sit and sort of imagine yourself in the image of a certain archetypal energy or deity to bring that forth from your consciousness. In the same way, meditating upon a particular tarot card or path working with it is a way to bring these qualities out itself. So to put these in practical terms, how do you work with this to bring this out in your nature? Very simple. Focus on the particular qualities that you want to bring out and meditate upon the card. Just meditate and stare at the image while focusing on the qualities you want to bring out. And do this as a sort, just focus on what you want to bring out in yourself. Your own inner authority, your own inner assertiveness, and also self-control. All these positive qualities. Think of what you want to bring out that has to do with this. And then throughout the day, just mentally bring up the image of the emperor. And think of yourself as the emperor. I've used this personally quite a bit. If you think of the tarot as a set of archetypal images that represent different patterns of behavior, different attributes of the personality. If you just think of these qualities, imagine the image and kind of step into it. Sort of like acting, you role play. You can work on bringing these things out to the surface. Or perhaps alternatively, you can meditate upon the astrological sigil or symbol of Aries, okay, which of course is the ram. So, and there's the astrological symbol of Aries. Now, I'm fully aware that according to Western astrology, you know, you're born with certain signs and certain planets in those signs, and this is your natal chart. This is who you are from that standpoint. But what I'm talking about here is a different way of looking at it, that we all have these different qualities, in that if you think of these as certain personality types, by meditating on those qualities and sort of bringing that to the surface, you're able to transform your personality. So there's the astrological sign of Aries. Think of the qualities of Aries. Whether you are an Aries or not, you can be any sign or whatever. Of course, that's just the sun sign, but the point is, meditate. You can meditate on any sign of the zodiac on those qualities to bring those things out in yourself more. So that, and if you go through the entire set of symbols of astrological types, then this is a way to have a more balanced, more rounded aspect to yourself. So maybe some of us need to work on our own inner assertiveness, our own inner authority over ourselves as well as out there. But whatever the case may be, you could even perform a ritual around this. If you get the associated colors, incenses, things like that, because ritual is basically taking symbol and turning it into a sort of play or performance. And you could also do path working. Now, if you guys are interested, I can do some videos on path working and things like that with the tarot. So anyways, that's a basic rundown of the card. Of course, I went into some of its more esoteric attributes of Aries. You know, light overcoming the darkness, the initiator of the zodiac, connected in the northern hemisphere to when the sun, crosses the equator into the northern hemisphere. This is springtime. This is regeneration. And of course, in Masonry, you have the lambskin apron, which represents initiation, new birth, of course, moral purity and self-sacrifice. And it's interesting that Tiferet on the Tree of Life is the place of the sun, and it also is the place of self-sacrifice. In the Golden Dawn system of magic and in the AA, the sphere of Tiferet is where you have knowledge and conversation. This is where Christian Kabbalists will put Christ. Some people put pagan deities that are the sacrificial gods. So this idea of self-sacrifice, it has the solar attributes. And it's interesting because it connects Chokmah to Tiferet. Chokmah is the archetypal father figure. Tiferet is the solar principle. So this combines a lot of that. And really this is the archetypal image of the ruler, the power figure, the authority figure. This is the king. In mythology, I guess you could say this is Zeus upon his throne, who was king of the gods, king of mortals and the gods in Greek mythology. Zeus was the ruler of everything, and he also established order out of chaos. And of course, if you get into Babylonian mythology, Marduk slayed the serpent Tiamat and established the heavens. He established the year and time. He created man. He created civilization. So that's sort of a warrior figure that slays the serpent of chaos, and this is the establisher. And in the Sefer Yetzirah, this is called the constituting intelligence. And a constitution is the essence of a governing body. It is the establisher. And we all have this inner power figure. This is your drive to go out there and to manifest your life. This is your drive to go out there and accomplish your goals. And if you feel that people run all over you, if you feel that people push you around, or that you lack motivation and energy, then this is the card that you need to meditate on to bring these qualities to the surface. So anyways, that is a basic rundown of the Emperor card. Anyways, thank you for joining me, and see y'all next time. And just a reminder, new videos come out every Saturday morning. So if you want to learn more, be sure and hit subscribe, and many more videos are to come, y'all. And I really appreciate all of you. Y'all are awesome. Anyways, have a great day, everyone. See y'all next Saturday morning.